The following presentation is the proposed 2025 hunting seasons for the Dubois Biologist District. I'm Zach Gregory, the biologist for these hunt areas. The Badwater antelope herd consists of Antelope Area 75 northeast of Riverton. This antelope herd has been slowly declining toward its objective for the last 4 years, but has stabilized near the objective of 3,000 pronghorn the last 2 years. The population model in 2024 shows this herd of 2,785 pronghorn has dropped slightly below the objective, which is about a 2% decrease from the previous year. Fawn production increased to 56 fawns per 100 does in 2024. That's up from 43 fawns per 100 does in 2023, and it's also above the 5-year average of 51 fawns per 100 does. During the 2024 hunting season, the Type 1 hunter success was 85%. That's similar to the previous 2 years. However, the days per harvest slightly increased from 2.9 days per harvest in 2023 to 3.4 in 2024, an indication that hunters were still finding bucks to harvest in a reasonable amount of time. Given another year of poor fawn recruitment, we're proposing to eliminate the Type 6 licenses. This should help stabilize the population within the 20% of the objective. The Type 1 licenses has experienced moderate success over the past 3 years. We're proposing no changes to the Type 1 licenses. The Wind River antelope herd consists of Area 84 in Dubois. This herd is managed based on a hunter satisfaction objective of 60%. 2024 saw hunter satisfaction of 88% with a 5-year average of 85%. Buck-doe ratios in 2024 were 36 bucks per 100 does with a 5-year average of 41 bucks per 100 does. The fawn production in 2024 was 60 fawns per 100 does. That's almost double from the previous year. Hunter success increased in 2024 to 90% for the Type 1 and 95% for the Type 6. This is up from 78% for the Type 1 and 70% for the Type 6 in 2023. While the buck-doe ratio declined in 2024, fawn recruitment, hunter success, and hunter satisfaction increased. Given the improvement in recruitment, hunter success, and hunter satisfaction, we're proposing no changes to the 2025 hunting seasons other than the minor changes to the opening dates to standardize the third Saturday September opener. The project antelope herd consists of areas 97 and 117. This herd unit is managed based on a hunter-landowner satisfaction objective of 60%. The mixed land ownership within the Wind River Reservation precludes the collection of good demographic data and the ability to model the population. In 2024, both landowner and hunter satisfaction increased, with landowner satisfaction at 60% and hunter satisfaction at 88%. Fawn recruitment was relatively low, with 38 fawns per 100 does, and the buck-doe ratios did increase to 37 bucks per 100 doe. This is up from 15 bucks per 100 does in 2023. Given the increase in hunter satisfaction, hunter comments, as well as the buck-doe ratio, opportunity still exists for hunters to harvest an antelope with reasonable success in 2025. Therefore, we are proposing no changes to the 2025 hunting season, with the exception of a slight increase in the Type 7 licenses to address damage concerns. The Dubois mule deer herd consists of deer areas 128 and 148, with most of the harvest and recreational opportunity occurring in 128. This herd has been below objective and slowly declining for over 20 years. However, since 2019, the population has stabilized with a 5-year average of 4,302 mule deer and a population of 4,502 in 2024. We did see a slight increase in fawn production of 67 fawns per 100 does in 2024, with a 5-year average of 57 fawns per 100 does. The buck-doe ratio in the herd unit has been extraordinarily stable, and in 2024, the buck-doe ratio was 31 bucks per 100 does, which is slightly higher than the 5-year average of 28 bucks per 100 does. With the warm, dry weather and the displacement of hunters from the pack trail fire, hunter harvest and success decreased in 2024 to 29% compared to 37% in 2023. And correspondingly, the days per harvest increased from 15 days per harvest in 2023 up to 19 in 2024. We are proposing no changes to the 2025 hunting seasons in both areas 128 and 148. The structure of the general season is strictly intended to direct harvest towards the male segment of this herd and has no impact on recruitment, survival, nor the overall population. Based on substantial migration data and subsequent analyses, we are proposing to realign the Dubois mule deer herd unit boundary. This will exclude Hunt Area 148 and incorporate both Hunt Area 156 and the northern portion of Hunt Area 146. This change will more accurately capture data that better represents the Dubois mule deer herd and its management objectives. The Beaver Rim mule deer herd is comprised of Deer Area 90 east of Riverton. This is a low-density deer herd and has been for a couple of decades now. The lack of classification data in the past several years has precluded population estimates. In 2024, classification surveys resulted in a fewer number of deer classified than the previous year, with only 128 deer classified. This may be contributed to the mild winter at this time of the survey, allowing deer to be distributed over a wider area than what is usually observed in early December. While the sample size is lower than preferred, the results indicate a similar fawn-doe ratio of 77 fawns per 100 does compared to 76 fawns per 100 does in 2023. Both the yearling buck-doe ratio and the adult buck-doe ratio significantly increased in 2024 and was the highest it's been in the past 5 years. However, based on the low sample size, this needs to be interpreted with caution and may not reflect true ratios. Regardless, the adult buck-doe ratio was 77 bucks per 100 does, and the yearling buck-doe ratio was 19 yearling bucks per 100 does. Hunter satisfaction increased to 81% in 2024 compared to 61% in 2023. Conversely, hunter success declined from 84% in 2023 to 55% in 2024, the lowest it's been in the previous 5 years. Similarly, days per harvest increased in 2024 to 11.8 compared to 7.5 days in 2023. With the improvements in hunter satisfaction, hunter comments indicating the availability of mature bucks, and a population that is stable at best, we are proposing no significant changes to the 2025 season. Given this population has languished below objective for years, we are proposing to eliminate any doe mule deer harvest to antlered mule deer or any white-tailed deer. The project mule deer herd consists of deer areas 157 and 171. This herd unit is managed based on a hunter-landowner satisfaction objective of 60%. Mixed land ownership within the Wind River Reservation precludes the collection of good demographic data and the ability to estimate the population. Since 2014, hunter satisfaction has consistently been above the objective. However, it has decreased each of the last 6 years from 81% in 2018 to an understandably low of 46% in 2023. However, hunter satisfaction did increase to 72% in 2024, even with a decline in deer numbers based on personnel observations, hunter-landowner comments, and harvest statistics. In 2023, given the low deer density, we reduced license numbers in an attempt to increase hunter satisfaction and success, while continuing to manage for CWD by maintaining low deer densities. This approach seemed to work as we see an increase in satisfaction in 2024. All landowners surveyed in 2024 felt that mule deer numbers were either too low or about right. In early 2023, the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, in collaboration with the University of Wyoming, the U.S. Geological Survey, and the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho Tribal Fish and Game, implemented a 2-year CWD project in the Project Mule Deer Herd. This project is multifaceted and will help better understand CWD transmission and provide a more targeted management approach. To date, 131 deer have been collared and tested, including 50 deer just recently captured in January of 2025. This results in 111 mule deer, 35 male and 76 female, and 20 white-tailed deer, 10 of which were male and 10 were female. This is to gather data on movement, survival, and habitat selection. The overall annual survival rate for 2024 is 50%. That doesn't include the recent captures of 50 deer. Males experience an annual survival rate of 38% and females 52%. A sitability survey was conducted in March of 2023. The results show an abundance estimate for the entire herd unit of 5,956 mule deer. When analyzing the sitability survey by hunt area, 157 had an abundance estimate of 1,285 mule deer, and 171 with 4,670 mule deer. The Project Mule Deer Herd was prioritized for CWD sampling beginning in 2019 and continued through 22 with mandatory sampling initiated in 2022. The 5-year annual and average prevalence estimates, sample sizes, and percent of harvest sampled for CWD are in the table on the slide. While mandatory sampling didn't increase the total number of samples taken, it did increase the percent of adult males harvested that were sampled. This aligns pretty well with the reduced number of deer harvested in the low-density deer herd and provides managers with data to track CWD prevalence. White-tailed deer were also sampled, indicating a lower prevalence rate than mule deer. The results are in the following slide. The impact of such a high rate of prevalence on the population is unknown, but is certainly likely that CWD is a contributing factor in the population decline over the past 3 years, as we saw in the annual survival rate. This is a map showing collared deer movements in and out of the Project Mule Deer Herd. The red lines show non-migratory deer, and the purple lines indicate migratory deer. This is collar data gathered over the previous 2 years of the project. This is a map showing collared mule deer migrations that connect western Wyoming to the Project Mule Deer Herd and reinforces the need to mitigate CWD spread to these herds. There is a need for continued harvest to further decrease the already low density of deer in an attempt to address the extraordinarily high CWD prevalence rates and its spread within and out of the Project Mule Deer Herd. With the continual high rates of CWD, deer migration data indicating movement in and out of the herd, as well as the limited number of licenses available to harvest a buck mule deer, we are proposing to remove the Type 1 licenses in Area 157 and replacing them with a general license. The number of Type 3, 6, and 8 licenses are also proposed to be increased. Transitioning to a general license in Hunt Area 157 will allow hunters both the flexibility and the opportunity to harvest a buck without restraining them to one hunt area. For example, if hunters are unsuccessful in other general hunt areas, they would then have the opportunity to harvest a deer in 157. Continuing to lower deer densities is, at this time, the only tool managers have in attempting to manage CWD. Additionally, given the recent movement data as we saw on the previous slide, deer movement from 157 to surrounding herds, it's necessary to mitigate these movements in an attempt to limit the spread of CWD. CWD prevalence in white-tailed deer in 171 is also trending upwards. In an attempt to lower white-tailed deer densities in 171, we increased the licenses and extended the seasons in 2024. This option is imperative in continuing to manage this herd in an attempt to mitigate disease transmission and prevalence rates. This level of harvest pressure in concert with disease-caused mortality will likely limit population growth and lower the current low densities. The prevalence of CWD in this herd has increased to an alarming high level and has become the main cause of mortality for mule deer, reducing deer densities to a level that no one is satisfied with. Given the difficulties associated with wildlife disease and specifically CWD, the satisfaction objective does not align well with the characteristics of this herd and is unusable to manage this herd as CWD is the driver of population change and it will be for decades. The mixed land ownership in this herd unit precludes the collection of representative and usable demographic data. Currently, the little demographic data that is collected is done using ground routes that are restricted due to the mixed land ownership. Aerial flights to gather this data would be extraordinarily costly and difficult at best given the low deer densities and the amount of farms, ranches, and livestock within the herd unit. The demographic data that has been collected annually has resulted in inadequate sample sizes, rendering population modeling unusable. Deer migrating into and out of Hunt Area 157 is of particular concern, where the CWD prevalence is highest and the most drastic decline in deer abundance has occurred. These migrating deer pose a risk of increasing the rate of disease spread to other healthy populations of mule deer surrounding the Project Mule Deer herd. Therefore, we are proposing a new management objective for the Project Mule Deer herd of a disease management objective of 5% CWD prevalence in adult male mule deer. Deer Area 36 is part of the Southwest Bighorns mule deer herd. This population has been below the objective of 16,000 for several years now and continues to be below objective in 2024 with a population estimate of 8,455 mule deer. Several years ago, we implemented a limited quota system in Area 36 to maintain recreational opportunity and not to manage for trophy animals. In 2024, the fawn-doe ratio in the hunt area was 90 fawns per 100 does, and in the herd unit it was 75 fawns per 100 does. The buck-doe ratio in 2024 was 39 bucks per 100 does for the hunt area and 35 bucks per 100 does for the herd unit, putting this well above the maximum threshold for a recreational management strategy. Given the 3 previous years of good fawn production and buck ratios entering into the limits of special management, we are proposing a small increase to the Type 1 licenses for the 2025 hunting season. The Wiggins Fork elk herd consists of elk areas 67, 68, 69, and 127. This herd is managed based on a winter trend count with an objective of 5,500 elk in 67, 68, and 69. In January 2025, the department counted 6,388 elk, bringing the 3-year average trend count to 6,935, which puts this herd 16% above the objective. With the extremely mild weather throughout the hunting season, hunter success decreased in 2024 with an overall success of 34% compared to 49% in 2023. The Wiggins Fork elk herd was prioritized for CWD sampling from 2021 through 2022. The 5-year annual and average prevalence estimates, sample sizes, and percent of harvest sampled for CWD are presented in the table below. The large sample size of 279 over the last 5 years has provided a more confident estimate of CWD prevalence. The higher than average CWD prevalence in 2024 may be a result of very few samples taken. The 5-year average prevalence indicates CWD is likely not a significant driver of this population, and no CWD management actions are proposed for 2025. Given the lack of harvest and above objective trend count, we are proposing no changes to the 2025 hunting season for areas 67, 68, and 69. However, with increased elk damage in Area 127, we are proposing to increase the general license season length to August 1st through October 31st. Elk areas 47 and 48 are part of the South Bighorns elk herd. This elk herd has been above objective for several years now, and in 2024 it was again above the objective of 3,300 with a winter trend count of 4,075. This is up slightly from 3,833 in 2023. For the 2025 hunting seasons, we are proposing no changes. The Dubois moose herd consists of Area 6 around Dubois. This herd has been relatively stable the last 10 years. However, it is well below historical levels for the area. The harvest success has been between 80 and 100% each of the last 10 years, including 100% in 2024. Tooth age data indicates a median age of 4 for bulls harvested in 2024 with a 5-year running median age of 5. We are proposing no major changes to the 2025 hunting season. However, to best accommodate the 90-10 split, all 5 licenses will go to residents. The Whiskey Mountain Bighorn sheep herd consists of areas 8, 9, and 10. This herd has declined substantially over the last 25 to 30 years. This is mainly due to persistent pneumonia and low lamb recruitment. In 2024, classification surveys showed another year of low overall sheep count, but also another year of relatively improved lamb ratios. However, it is important to note that classification surveys were conducted from the ground in areas 9 and 10. In 2024, areas 8, 9, and 10 had a harvest success of 50, 40, and 100%, respectively. The one ram harvested in area 8 was 11, and the average age of rams harvested in 9 was 6, and in area 10 was 9. Hunter success in all of these areas is well within the historical range, and it's important to note hunter success in area 9 in 2024 was not reflective of the number of rams available for harvest. For the 2025 hunting seasons, we are proposing no changes in the number of licenses. However, to best accommodate the 90-10 split, one non-resident license will be allocated in Area 9, with licenses in both 8 and 10 all going to residents. In 2022, in collaboration with the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho Tribal Fish and Game and the University of Wyoming, we began a test and remove project in the Red Creek subherd. To date, 14 ewes have met our definition as a chronic carrier, and all of those have been removed. In addition, we have expanded test and remove to areas 9 and 10, and to date we have tested 63 sheep, identified 20 carriers, and removed 17. As you can see, the lamb ratios have improved significantly over the last 3 years, and with test and remove, we hope to maintain high lamb production. Sheep areas 4, 5, and 22 are all a part of the Absaroka Bighorn sheep herd. In 2024, Area 4 had a 94% hunter success rate. Area 5 had an 85% success rate. In Area 22, only 4 hunters reported as hunting in that area with no success. However, this area is also valid in Area 5 and is reported for that area when harvested there. We are proposing no changes to the 2025 hunting seasons. For the 2025 pheasant hunting season, we are proposing a few small changes to the Area 2 season dates. The any pheasant season will close November 30th, and the male pheasant only season will open December 1st. Also, the youth only day will be on Saturday, November 15th in all of Area 2. Release dates will continue to be every Tuesday, Friday, and we will continue to look for new release sites and improve habitat to help distribute hunters more evenly. For the 2025 sage grouse hunting seasons, we're proposing a few changes. The first being the standard third Saturday opener to September 20th. And in addition to that, we're proposing to change the falconry sage grouse season to open September 1st and close January 31st. This is to limit disturbance of sage grouse when they're moving toward echolocation, limit winter disturbance of other wildlife populations, and lessens conflicts between falconry birds and golden eagles as eagles establish territories in February. Also, a reminder to obtain your sage grouse hunting permit, which is free but required to hunt sage grouse.